Hi everyone, welcome to part 7 of the series that we're doing 5 Excel tricks you need to know. And if you haven't watched our previous videos on this topic, please make sure you do so on our YouTube channel. I will also include the links to those videos in the video description down below. So please go and check out those videos to learn 5 Excel tricks that you need. But let's jump right into part 7 of this exciting series, 5 Excel tricks you need to know. So our first Excel trick that we are going to discuss today is actually an iteration of the search box that we have discussed in part 6 of the series. But today's option is another method that you can use to approach this search box and to get your search box running with conditional formatting in Microsoft Excel. So let's jump right into how to create this search box. So if you are in your home page of your Microsoft Excel, you can then just head to anywhere on your ribbon and right click on your ribbon and head to customize the ribbon. From here, this pop-up window will appear with some Excel options that you can use. So on the right hand side, we are simply going to scroll down and we are going to then select the developer tab. So this is going to add the developer section to the top of our ribbon. And once you have selected this checkbox, you can then just head down and select OK. So as you guys can see, we have the developer tab set up at the top of our ribbon for this example. So I'm going to head to the developer tab, and then in the controls section of this ribbon, I'm going to hit insert, and then I'm going to scroll down until I see the text box function. So I'm going to select this option to insert our search box. So from this, you can simply then just drag your option for your search box, and it will display your search box wherever you have dragged this. So as you guys can see, we've got our text box in Microsoft Excel, and from the next step that we are going to do is to right click on our box, and we are going to head to properties. So once you hit properties, this pop-up window will appear, and from this you are simply going to scroll down to the section that says linked cell. So in this, we want to link a cell that we want to reference to our search box. So whenever you type a formula that has this linked cell in it, it will refer to your text box. So from this, I'm simply going to then just type in B2. So we are then going to link our B2 cell that you guys can see here in with our text box. So once you've done this linked cell, you can simply close the properties at the top of the ribbon, and now in your developer ribbon, you can then just deselect your design mode. So once you have deselected this, you can see we can no longer work or move this text box. In order to move this, you need to head to your developer tab and select your design mode. So from there, you can then just move your search box around. So once you have set your search box exactly where you want it to, you can then just deselect your design mode and your search box is in Microsoft Excel. So the next step that we are going to use is going to be conditional formatting, so that whenever we type information into our search box, we highlight the section of data that we have in our spreadsheet. So from this, I'm just going to head back to our home tab, and now I'm going to select all of the data in this table, and I'm going to head to conditional formatting. And for this, I'm going to head down to a new rule, and from this new rule formatting section will pop up, and there you can then scroll down. You can see there's a lot of options that you can apply here, but we are going to use a formula to determine which cells to format. So once you've selected this option, you can see that we need to insert a formula into this formula bar. So the following formula is what we are going to use for this conditional formatting, and I'll display it on the screen, otherwise it may look a lot smaller to you guys when you see this in the formula bar. So we're going to type in the equal sign, and we are going to use the AND function, and then I'm going to include a bracket, and from here I'm going to type in our search function. In our search function, we are going to search the following parameters. So I'm going to type out B2. So this is our referenced cell to our search box, but I want to change the format of this. So I'm just going to hit F4 on my keyboard to change the format of my B2 cell to something like this. The next step will be to where we want to search for this data. So then I'm just going to type out A4. This is the top of our data set here. So you can see this is our first column and our first row in this data set. But I want to change this format as well. So I'm going to hit F4 and I'm going to hit it 3 times to get this format for our A4 cell. You can manually type this, but hitting F4 is a quicker way to change this format. So from here, we are going to then just close down our search option, and then I'm going to add a comma to this to get to the next section. So once again, for the next part, we are going to type out B2, and we want the format to lock in our B2 cell. And the next section, we are going to use the greater as and smaller as signs. So you can type that out, and then we are going to include 2 double quotes. And once you are done with this section of the formula, you can then just close this bracket, and this is the formula that is going to be applied. So down at the bottom here, you can see a preview to our formatting. So then we are just going to head to the right of this to get our formatting for this section. So in the font section, I'm just going to hit our bold font here, and then I'm just going to head over to the fill option to get a color as well. So for this, let's do an orange color so that you can see exactly how that will look. So from this, we can hit OK, and now you can see with this formula and with our preview of what our cell will look like once you hit this section. So if you're happy with your formula and your preview, we can simply hit OK, and now our conditional formatting is done. So whenever you type a letter, let's say we want to type John or whatever starts with a J, you can see that we have started just typing this out and our whole selection was highlighted, so that you can see exactly how this works. So if you type out, let's just do John, you can see anybody with a first name of John is highlighted in this section, and this works brilliantly with whatever you want to type. But this does not end here. So as you guys can see, let's just do an example. Let's type in Smith. So you can see whenever we type a last name, this function, this conditional formatting that we've used will not be applicable to those cells. So in order to get the whole selection working with our search box, I'm just going to head to our conditional formatting, and I'm going to head down to manage rules. So once you're in there, I want to hit from our current selection, I just want to go to this worksheet, and from this worksheet you can see all the rules that we have applied. So in this section, I'm just going to click on our rule, and I'm simply going to duplicate this rule twice so that you can see how we can get this applicable to our whole spreadsheet. So in this section, we have our formula that references our column A, that is effectively what that part of the formula meant. So for this section, I'm then just going to edit my rule, and I'm going to change the A4 in our formula to a B4. So what this effectively does, this search function will work in column B. So it will stay in column B and it will work from row number 4 downwards. So this is how this formula is structured, and with this and with our preview, if you're happy with this, we can simply click OK. We can see we've got a column that is going to be A4, and we've got our B4 set as well. So the bottom section here, I'm just going to edit this rule once again, and I'm going to change this to C4. So once you've done that and you have applied all of your rules here, so now you can see in this section we have a formula that will refer to column A. We've got a formula that will refer to column B and column C as well. So when you are doing this, your search box, whatever you type into your search box, will highlight the relevant information. So if you're happy with this, you can simply hit apply and then just OK to finish that out. So now if we type in a last name, you can see whatever happens. Let's say you type and the letter S, then you can see anything that has a S in the name has been highlighted. So as soon as you start to type in data, certain data, you can see that specifies which section of your table is applicable to this. So let's do a option for column C as well. So if you type out analyst, you can see all of the analysts that we have in this section was highlighted, and this is exactly how this function works. So it's a great function to use, and this is, as I said, another method that you can use the search box, and it is not the only method that you can apply. There are a bunch of options that you can use when working with search boxes, but in part 6 and part 7 this video, you have now seen 2 methods that you can apply this to. So using conditional formatting, you can then just get the most out of your search box. Our next trick that we are going to discuss is how to calculate the percentage of a total. So I know this sounds kind of stupid. Everybody knows how to calculate percentages. So the old method would be that you type in the equal sign, you select the cell that you want as your reference, and you will then divide it through your total, and then you get a percentage of your total. But this is a longer and a slower way that you can do this. There is a much quicker option that you can use to speed up your Excel work. So as you guys can see, we've got our little table here, and our total is just calculated with the sum of these amounts. So that's quite easy. But to get the percentage of this total, I'm simply going to select all of the applicable months. So from January through to December, I'm going to select that data, and at the right bottom you will see a quick analysis tool. So once you select this, you can see a lot of options that you can use with this. You can do formatting, you can do charts, you can do a lot of things, but we are going to head over to the totals section. And once you are there, we are simply going to scroll to the right hand side and head to the percentage total. So as you can see, this is a much quicker way to calculate the percentage of a total. And with this, you can simply then just see we've done a sum for this as well, and this will count up to 100%. And this is a great trick that you can use to speed up your Excel workflow. So our next trick that we are going to discuss is how to insert a progress donut into Microsoft Excel. And this is a great option, a visual option that you can use when working with a data set that you want to represent visually to someone else. So our first step is going to be to enter our completed and our remaining options. So let's say you've got a project and we have completed 25% of this. So this is a simple percentage value that we have here. For the remaining value, I've simply went with 100 minus the completed value. So whatever I change in this section, you can see it changes on our remaining side. So let's just stick with 25% completed for now, and let's start to insert this progress donut. So our first step that we will be using is we are going to head to our insert tab, and in this section we are going to head to illustrations, and we are going to insert a shape. So you can use any shape that you would like. I'm simply going to use this rectangle with rounded corners to show you how we can do this. So then you can simply then just drag this option over and you can see this shape that has happened here. And from here in your shape format section, we can then just head to a shape fill. So let's just get another color and we can then just set the outline as well. So I'm going to remove the outline to the shape so that we can start to do this. And now that our shape is set up, we can then just simply head to the insert tab again, and I'm going to head down to the section where we can insert a text box. So now you can simply drag this text box wherever you would like. You can see we have inserted this on top of our shape, and now you can type in whatever you would like there. So let's do completed. Let's just do that. Let's just increase this, the font there. So now that this is complete, you can see this is starting to shape up. So I'm going to head to the shape format once again, and I'm just going to shape fill this with the same color that we've used already, and I'm going to remove the outline of our text box. So now you can see our text box is inserted on top of our shape, and this is exactly what we would like. So for our next step, we are going to select this data. This is not a lot of data. You can break this into a lot bigger sections, but you will understand how this progress donut will work in Excel. So I'm simply going to select this data and once again head to the insert tab, and then in the charts section of our ribbon, I'm going to select to our pie charts. And from this, you can see we can then insert a progress donut. And from here, you can see we've got this chart set up. And now I am simply going to head to this chart elements section, and I'm going to remove our chart title and our legend for this as well. So once this is done, we can simply select this and start to shape this to something that will fit into our original shape. So here you guys can see this fits into our original shape that we've got here. And now I'm just going to head up to the format section at the top of our ribbon. And from this, I'm going to then just select our shape fill, and I'm going to remove the outline to this pie chart. So once this is done, this will look something like this. And now we want to insert this completed percentage in the center of our donut. So once again, head to the insert section, and I'm going to insert a text box once again. So now I can simply draw this text box wherever we would like. And now we can then, once this is drawn up, I am going to head to our formula bar at the top here, and I'm going to simply type in the equal sign and reference to the completed percentage that we have in our data. So once this is done, you can then simply just hit enter, and you can see this percentage work out here. So let's just move that. So let's just double click on this data and select this data. Let's get it on a bold font and increase the size of this percentage. Let's just keep at that. So once you're done with this section, we can then select our text box once again, and we can head to shape format. And now I'm simply going to shape fill this once again and remove the outline of our text box to get this. So this is something that you can then just drag to the center of your donut, and now our progress donut is complete. So if I, for instance, change this completed percentages, you can see the donut starts to work in our favor. So this is a great visual representation of data that you can use in Microsoft Excel. So our next trick that we are going to discuss is how to move data efficiently in Excel. So the old method that probably a lot of people have used is to select your data here, and then you can simply drag this data to another cell and then just select your other data and replace this. So you can use this long process of swapping data in a sheet. So let's discuss a quicker way that you can use to speed up your work in Excel. So this works quite simple. I'm going to select, let's do our job title section over here. And from this, I'm going to hit the shift button on our keyboard, and then I'm simply going to drag this data. So you can see the boundary where this data is going to be set. So let's just search for this boundary so that everybody can see exactly where we want to set this data. So as you move, you can see these boundaries move with you, and once you hit this boundary, you can see once you release your mouse, your data has been swapped. So this is an easy method that you can use to swap data when you are working in certain columns. So let's just demonstrate what happens when you select the wrong boundary. So once again, I'm going to press the shift button on my keyboard and I'm going to drag this data. So you can see this boundary is highlighted here. So once I release my mouse button, you can see this data effectively is stacked on top of our previous data. So that's why it's quite crucial when you are moving data with this option to look for the right boundary. Then you will be moving this data efficiently. When you are working with a sheet and you can move your whole column, you can simply select your column that you want to move, hit the shift button on this, and you can then effectively move your data to whatever column you would like. So if we move it that way, it will work perfectly. If we move it back to its original position, it will work perfectly. So just make sure when you're using this method, this quick trick, that you select the correct boundary when you are moving your data. So our last trick that we are going to discuss in this video today is how to automatically apply borders to this Excel sheet. So as you guys can see, we do not have any borders as of yet, but we want to automatically apply these borders as we type. So to do this, it's quite simple. We are simply going to select all of our columns here from the top section, and once you have done this, I'm going to head over to the conditional formatting section in our home ribbon, and once I click there, I'm going to head down to new rule. So in this section, this formatting rules will pop up, this window will pop up onto your screen, and we will be heading down to use a formula to determine which cells to format. So once we are here, you can then see that we need to type in a formula to where this is going to be applicable. So it's quite simple. I'm going to type in the equal sign, and I am going to reference back to our initial cell here. So this is going to be B2, but we want to change this format. So I'm going to hit F4 on my keyboard to change the format of this referenced cell to something like this. So this effectively just shows us that we will stay in column B, and we will work through all the rows that are applicable. So from here, you can then, once this formula is set, you can see the preview of this has not been set as of yet. So we are going to head to this format section, and we are going to format the cell that we want to. So we are simply going to hit the outline of these borders. You can change these borders to whatever you would like and where you want these borders as well. You can do dashes, whatever you would like here. We are going to stick to solid lines and just head to the outline of our section. So once you're done with this, you can simply press OK, and now you can see the preview of this cell that will be affected. So here we can see we have all of our borders applicable here, and once you are happy with this, we can simply hit OK, and our conditional formatting is set for these rows. So as I type anything into these sections, you can see that our formatting creates borders as we type along. So this is a great option that you have and that you can apply to your sheets if you do not want to just draw borders and then see where you land at the end of the day. This automatically applies borders as you go along, and once you stop there, your borders are already complete. So this is a great trick that you can use, and I hope you can use all of these tricks today, and I hope everything was helpful in this video. If any of these tricks were helpful to you and you've learned something today, please remember to hit the like button down below. That would really help the YouTube algorithm get this video out to more people. And if you have enjoyed all of our content so far, please remember to subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any of our new content that we will be posting. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, cheers.